If your phone has ever been blacklisted on accident, let me tell you, it's the most time-consuming and frustrating thing to get it removed. But in this video, I'll give you a solution. What is blacklist? It's when your phone gets reported stolen or linked to fraud, and it's reported to the phone carrier and it puts it on a list, and it will not let it be used on the cellular network. It can be used on Wi-Fi, send text, receive text, but on the cellular network, you will not be able to make phone calls or receive phone calls. Your IMEI is associated to your specific phone. Now on your phone you have two IMEI numbers. So technically you could have two phone numbers for one phone, but I'll get to that second IMEI number later. So about a month ago, my daughter comes to me and says, my phone isn't working. So I didn't think anything of it, so I did what anybody would do, toggle the cellular on and off. Well, it didn't work. I didn't think anything of it. We waited till the next morning to see if it magically worked, but it did not. So we proceed to call the phone carrier. The one of many times we called the phone carrier. After about an hour telling them what happened, they transferred us to the fraud department. Now let me tell you, the phone carrier's global fraud department has a specific number. But unfortunately, when you call that number, you can't get anybody on the phone. Well, you can, it's AI, but they're useless. Every time we called, we had to call the main phone company number, tell them our entire story every time we called, and said, oh yeah, we need to transfer you to the fraud department. I have tried, right when they pick up the phone and say, hey, I need to talk to the fraud department. Well, they won't do that until they know what is wrong. So back to the phone call. After the fraud department gets on the phone, they investigate it for about 30 minutes. The fraud department said that the phone was reported stolen. I don't know how that could be because my daughter had it in hand. We had to provide them proof of purchase that we purchased the phone in the store. We did that after about 15 minutes more on the phone. They said, okay, we're going to unsuspend it. Well, after about an hour later, the phone worked. Great. Until the next morning. So what happened was the fraud department unsuspended it, but it did not take it off the blacklist. So the phone carrier's system automatically suspended it again. So the next morning, my phone, or my daughter's phone, does not work again. So we are back to square one. So the next day, my wife calls the phone carrier number again. Get transferred to the fraud department again. And they said, yeah, let us open a case so we can get the phone off the blacklist. Great, after about an hour, hour and a half on the phone, great. I get an email saying the case is open. The next morning, I get another email, the case is closed. Great, problem solved. Nope, still on the blacklist, the phone still does not work. The next few days, the phone is still not working. And after calling the fraud department, like I said, 2 or 3 times with no resolve, I went into the phone carrier's store, third-party store, and explained everything what was happening. My daughter was there, and you know what he tells me? We need to talk to the fraud department. No joke. He calls the main number, gets transferred to the fraud department, and explains the entire spill to the fraud department. And this time they said that the IMEI number was linked to fraud and another phone number was trying to use that IMEI number. Huh? I thought you said it was reported stolen. Now it's linked to fraud. So apparently if it's linked to fraud, it's even harder to get it off the blacklist. So at this point, I'm so confused why it's on the blacklist. It doesn't really matter. It just needs to come off. Either they need to get me a new phone, or this needs to be escalated to somebody that can do something. After about an hour, the manager gets off the phone with the fraud department and they said, give me a couple hours, we're going to remove it. Okay. So the manager unsuspends the phone so she can use it for the day. But the next morning, we all know it's going back on the list and it's gonna get suspended again. And that's exactly what happened. To no surprise. Me and my wife are so pissed because my daughter is a new driver. and she needs her phone. My wife is ready to cancel every single service we have with this company. So that gave me an idea. There is a retention or what it's called a loyalty department for this company. This department is there so when you are ready to cancel services, they're there to give you the best promotion or the best deal that they have at that time to get you to stay with them. So let's give that a try. So I called this department and said, I need to cancel all my services. They ask why, and I tell them the long story of my daughter's phone getting on the blacklist and nobody's been able to remove it. She says, let me look into that. After about an hour of her coming back and forth saying, I'm still looking into that, I'm still looking into that, blah, 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 she gets back on the phone and says, I have good news and bad news. Good news is my manager has looked into this and he's gonna remove it from the blacklist. Bad news is it's gonna take 2 to 4 hours. Great, let's go, remove it. What do you think happens? 8 hours later, phone still does not work. They even open a case about it, and just like the previous case that was open, it was closed the next morning without no resolve. I guess there is a little good news. She did give me about an $80 credit to our bill, but I just wanted my daughter's phone to work. So at this point, I went online and just filed an FCC complaint, which, to my surprise, pretty easy to do. But I'll come back to that later. So a few minutes ago, I said we went into the phone carrier's store. Well, like I said, it was a third-party store. Well, this phone carrier actually has a corporate store in our area, and I don't know why it didn't dawn on me to go in there first. But nonetheless, me and my daughter went into the corporate store, went straight to a manager. Well, manager wasn't there. And he was like, well, what can I do to help you? So we did the spiel again after about an hour telling him what happened. He looked into it, and he was a very, very nice guy. And he seemed to be knowledgeable about how to fix this. Earlier in the video, I said, I'll get back to the second IMEI number. Well, this is where it comes into play. He moved my daughter's phone number to the second IMEI number and removed it from the first IMEI number. So now, after he did that, my daughter's phone is working now. But he also said, well, let's wait till the next morning because we don't know if both of the IMEI numbers are on the blacklist. We know the first one is, that's why he removed it. So he put the phone number on the second IMEI number. Boom, working. So the moment of the truth. The next morning, will her phone still be working with his second IMEI number tied to the phone number? Yes, thankfully it's working. And it has still been working ever since. But I think the best solution, if this ever happens to you, is the FCC complaint. So I filed it on Friday. And the office of the president of this specific phone carrier called me on Tuesday, and he said he reviewed all of the details of my case and my daughter's case, and after about 20 minutes he talked to the fraud department and it was removed from the blacklist. What? It was that easy? I guess you just have to be the office of the president to say remove this from the blacklist, when the fraud department, after about 5 times of me and my wife calling, said they removed it but never did. Guess it was that easy. He ends the phone call and asks, can I do anything else for you? Yes. Yes, you can. Give me some sort of credit for the hassle and inconvenience that me, my wife, and my daughter have suffered through this entire ordeal that wasn't even our fault. So I just jumped out there and said, just give me a free month's of phone bill and we'll be good. He credited my next month's phone bill without any questions, and now I have to go back to the phone carrier, get her phone number from the second IMEI number and put back to the first IMEI number just to make sure that her phone is okay, because I don't want any problems when I go and trade in the phone. I don't know if there will be, but I just don't want any. Her phone is still working to this day. If your phone ever gets on the blacklist, I think the best solution that you can do is just file a complaint to the FCC and have them resolve it. Instead of you jumping through hoops, going through their general phone number, getting to the fraud department, and then sometimes they'll just end your call. So you gotta repeat the entire process all over again. And that happened to us 2 or 3 times. We would call the general number, transfer to the fraud department, and the call would drop. So frustrating. Just file an FCC complaint and your life will be so much easier. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. See you in the next one.